make themselves yet again only, another one of these teams that's been able to win on the red side, because blue side has been so dominant so far. Only KSB and Kongdoo have actually been able to pick up victories on that particular side of the rift.
See how the bigger man goes. There's Wani, the first man on blue side. Very predictable. Where the hyper carry is going to fall, because Kalista, Kog'Maw, and Ezreal are usually accounted for in our bans with our very small sample size, and BBQ not opting into any. We will not see 3 80 carry bans on red side. See if Kongdoo starts thinning the pool now. Gets spicy if they don't ban any here.
Well, exactly. It's the 3 that need to go. Trick. Okay, so we've seen his solo queue. We know that he's been playing the Evelynn, but it's going to be taken away. And now, Kalista has to be banned. Kog'Maw has to be banned. And Ezreal has to be banned.
I think you probably leave up 2 now, don't you? If you really want to here, you can have your choice of Ezreal or Kog'Maw.
Maybe something like Tahm Kench needs to be banned here or something like that.
I would like a Tahm Kench ban, but they're actually just going to be happy and say, hey, BBQ, if you want Kog'Maw, we're going to win the game around you. Maybe we'll just run Caitlyn into and try to roll through, but Kog'Maw heavily expected to be a first pick, because Kongdoo will take it 100% if it's left open, because they always default to playing around Sol. Does mean there's 2 power picks available, and well, these are best friends forever when it comes to mid and jungle. So perhaps it's going to be the Edge and Raze story here.
Well, it's already started. As Ryze and the Jarvan have been locked in. BBQ thinking about what they want next, but they do have the coveted Kog'Maw, and Ghost has been playing a bunch of it recently, and we know that BBQ in the past, despite having slightly different players, have liked to play around Ghost, and he has been able to live up to that.
Bit awkward though, because now you have once again that gangplank conundrum of, do you take him and then kind of have Kog'Maw gangplank losing lane, because you can kind of overwhelm them in 2 lanes at once, or do you just give Kog'Maw, gangplank over to Kongdoo? That's what's going to be answered here after they take once again the good Malzahar into Ryze matchup. See what happens here.
I just find leaving the Jarvan up for Raze just gives him so much comfort. He just seems to be so good at knowing where to be and get these early ganks off. Maybe BBQ have got a plan to try and stymie that, but it will be hard. There's the problem that we were mentioning last game. That's going to be locked in here for BBQ. The Tristana is going to be the answer.
So they're not going to take the gangplank where available. Instead, they prize getting a preferential carry for Tristana after a lot of the best ones are off the board, and then maybe even just engineering a gangplank ban, depending on where they go with their bans here. You can definitely manipulate quite hard when you're on the red side and you have the first pick and the last pick of the second and first rounds, respectively. And just attacking Trick again. The Pocket Evelynn gone, and now the Kha'Zix's gone as well.
Real sad. Now, what will BBQ get rid of? A few more options, but Ornn, of course, is something that they decided to take away last time around. We'll see whether they do attack that. And with the support pool still open here for Kongdoo, that Tahm Kench is certainly sticking out.
See a Camille ban, and that's one of the champions that people like to lane into the gangplank, but Gnar and Vladimir are both open still, so... okay, so this is very much targeted Trick. So after Trick was kind of, held down, they're basically saying, hey, if you want to go on Zac and not be able to fight early, we're completely happy with that for Game 2 by taking out some of his pocket picks and also some of the other junglers who've been practicing recently. We know Trick has a very big jungle pool, of course. Reinvented himself a couple of times over in Europe, but history doesn't matter much today. Kongdoo Monster is focused on the now and not thinking about their past failures as an Oregon. BBQ will finally ban the gangplank after all.
Yep, they'll get rid of it. Roach not going to be able to play that one again. If they saw the damage meter, you can understand why. And the Tahm Kench makes a hell of a lot of sense. Quite surprised that BBQ didn't decide to get rid of it, but still, making sure that Roach is as uncomfortable as possible, despite the fact that he will have that counter pick opportunity.
On the side of BBQ, they do have Malzahar versus Ryze. We're looking into the top lane. I was going to say, when it was the Tahm Kench pick, that Gnar was kind of the strongest top laner available and laned very well into Ornn and the other options that have been popular.
Yeah,
so
good point.
Makes sense to take the Gnar as the blind pick now that Tahm Kench has been taken to ensure the anti-pick power against something like a Malzahar. Final pick here for BBQ. Oliver's will be jungle. So, decimated champion Paul Trick's got his hands up. That Nunu probably looking tempting.
Yeah, the Nunu might be looking tempting, but I feel like, there's still a few others. I mean, Ivern, possible option, and he's going to lock that one in.
All right, so it will be the Ivern here, an old favorite. Does synergize well with the Kog'Maw as well, so they're going to become very Kog'Maw focused here. going for the Ivern. Ivern has never been a popular pick in Korea, compared to Europe particularly, where that was the most popular of the regions it was showing in because it cannot skirmish early at all. No real damage to show for it. And then Kongdoo Monster. They may not have a Kog'Maw, but you just put a Kog'Maw instead of Tristana and you have the God Kog'Maw comp. It's Orianna mid lane because they're going to actually flex the Rise to top lane. This is risky stuff for the side of Kongdoo Monster.
Okay, Roach once again busting out the crazy stuff. Day one, he was playing super standard. Was on and just sticking to the top of the meta. No worries there at all. And then his GP manages to go very, very well against the Camille, and now he's bringing out the top Rise.
He will not start with Ignite, so you would expect Unsealed Spellbook on Rise. Could go for a Combat Summoner, but we know how Rise is. He's willing to admit that he might have to back even earlier, which seems a bit strange given how early you get that first charge of Unsealed Spellbook. Very interesting stuff. This will definitely throw BBQ through a loop. The Ivern was the first surprise. Top Rise in this meta is a big surprise of its own.
But, I mean, Ivern is another one of these junglers that doesn't necessarily power through the jungle in the early levels at the same time. So Race might still have an opportunity to get that very early gank off, try and set Kongdoo up to once again roll over the game in strategic fashion. But now, having seen what Kongdoo are capable of, you have a feeling BBQ Olivers will have a plan. They will have an idea of what to do. And now they've got the ultra power in that hyper carry of Kog'Maw. They've got a few more answers, a few more opportunities, and a few more ways to deal with this Kongdoo roster. We'll see where they can bring it to a game number 3. Let's get to the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
BBQ fans continuing to be vocal, Pup Smithy.
Fighting off the food coma of the free chicken that was coming earlier.
Oh.
Okay.
That's a pretty good start as Roach is already dead. Land the root caller, get the kill. That's what Trick says, and he's able to pick it up.
Well, that was nice. That was a really cute invade, actually. Good job by BBQ, and no surprise that Trick is the engineer of it. Roach will feel a bit sheepish.
Yep. He looked defeated. It's like, well, that happened, and there wasn't a lot I could do.
Not the most interactive gameplay.
Dear Diary, game 2 sucked.
And actually catch who the First Blood went to. The First Blood win rate not high for the side of BBQ, but they didn't do the most winning last season, so no big surprise. And Gnar actually
Oh god, yeah, that's hard.
picks up a Ruby Crystal on his way to the first phage to start really piling on the pain. BBQ fans, finally something to cheer about after game 1 was just not one they want to keep close to their minds.
Yeah. Well, now see what Edge can do on this Orianna. Cena sort of coming back just a little bit. I thought the new runes wouldn't necessarily benefit Orianna too much. She has still seen a bit of plays. Trick's just going to start his merry jaunt about the jungle, which is about all you can describe Ivan's path.
But Ivan's pathing as a whole concept is something that is worth talking about.
Yeah.
We see a lot of Ivans get pretty greedy at level 1 and prep all their camps before using Smite. You'll notice that he did smite the blue and now starts prepping the camps, and this is why we never saw Ivan. You know, Ivan was being more and more popular in Europe, and I had a chat with the Korean casters, also the community, and said, okay, like Ivan clearly does have use, his power level, especially when Daisy was really, really strong.
Yeah.
Seemed like it would be valuable, but again, the Korean casters, the pros said, he can't skirmish, you invade, you play around Ivan and what he does, and he has no way to fight back, and then all your lanes have to rotate. Multiple people need to help him out if the enemy jungle is aggressive, and enemy junglers know how to play, and that's why we do see very little Ivan priority. But now we have Trick, someone who I think will really go into the book and try to find different strategies to try to actually make Ivan work in the Korean jungle map.
Well, at least he was able to grab his wolf camp, even if he did lose that Grom. He's leaving his jungle almost completely bare, apart from that red buff, so he's going to go start with the bottom side. Edge, cute little combo. As the Mana Flow ban does open up some W max options for Orianna, which is kind of cool.
It's not going to happen, Alice.
I know, but it just... Watching someone play W max Orianna is pretty BM.
Reminds you of 2012.
Oh, stop.
Was the max at the start before the buffs came through. His mid lane
We'll have that dissonance available. There's the flash. Root Caller not going to land, but Trick out of a summoner spell as well.
Edge will be a bit frustrated because he healed hoping he wouldn't have to flash and then had to respect flash. So
Yeah.
ended up being the double summoner. Speaking of summoners, until Spellbook Orianna, I feel like we're only scratching the beginning of the surface of what you can take Unsealed Spellbook on. Spoilers, everyone.
We've got 100% inspiration on the side of Kongdoo Monster. That's what I'm talking about, guys.
Inspiration tree, such the preferred
Secret!
one.
What were you thinking? There's no stopwatch on the frog! He can go Grey Health and then like have all of that go down, like, and then the shield will all go down and then stopwatch. He'd just be alive forever.
I'm getting tilted just thinking about it.
I know, missed opportunities. It's okay. Oh, how many? How many have we got? Stopwatch counter.
I'll watch the screen as you're
another
checking out your
6.
stopwatches. All right, 6 seems to be the number. More than half the players are still showing that's a pretty dominant choice. And I touched upon it yesterday. You know, a lot of people asking about, talk about the runes. What's strong, what's not, how is it affecting champion pool? What I'll tell you is that the Inspiration Tree very clearly has been voted on as the favorite tree in Korea. You see it a lot in solo queue as well. And again, to me, it's largely because you don't get enough offensive power when after the summoner airy nerf, after Comet's kind of being trivialized a little bit by overheal, the extra damage doesn't power through, say, an overheal AD carry. And the extra defensive choices don't overcome the utility of a stopwatch, which represents what? Thousands of health, depending on how many turret shots you're negating with it. So just people don't prefer the utility of boots or stopwatch over the kind of lackluster stats you get in the other trees, and that's why Inspiration has really dominated the choice.
Yeah, I feel like, talking about the boots as well, I mean, that's just 300 gold that you're getting straight up for free. Free-ass boots, as our friend Captain Flowers does like to call them.
At least behind the stage. We'll find out during the season if he calls it free-ass boots.
I think he has to now.
They're really free, though.
Yeah, they are so free. Get much freer than that. Okay, but the farming has continued. And BBQ, still with that first blood, 500 gold is going to be the result as far as the lead is concerned. But the issue with getting a first blood like that is that there are no minions crashing, that you're not going to get anything more. It's just that gold to start the things off. We'll see whether Kongdoo Monster can get themselves into a position to find some of that control that they were able to garner game number 1.
You can see Kongdoo kind of, I would assume, adjusted their draft plan pretty late in the piece. Usually when you see a Rise top, that's kind of something that's either super pre-planned or something that's a bit out-of-the-box thinking. But the reason why I say that is you look at BBQ's comp and you say, especially after Kog'Maw has his first item, which is the Rage Bait, and I guess if you have the Hurricane second, once you hit that core, without an Orianna, there wasn't going to be enough threat on the Kog'Maw, and it felt like mid-game fights with the utility of the redemption from someone like the Ivern very early would be squarely on the side of BBQ, and they could snowball from there, because their late game is pretty comparable. It feels like Kongdoo felt like they needed extra oomph to their engage, so the Cataclysm into the Shockwave is now available to them. But the end result is this kind of awkward Rise top. The end result is that now with the start that BBQ have, there really could be a lot of mid-game fights where BBQ kind of just have a Kog'Maw free hitting, and that usually means victory, Atlas.
This is real scary. That steal onto the red buff that Trick was somehow able to navigate towards. Even through a pink ward that Crazy just wandered over as he grabs his own version of the buff, making things even harder for Roach. So Ivan having a good time.
We don't get a lot of Ivern, so the Observer really enjoying the recall animation.
Yeah.
Also, we don't need to watch this lane, as we've established.
Well, we'll see whether actually something happens from here. Soul's taking a fair bit of damage, but Explosive Charge should be able to even... No, it's not. Soul's just taken way too much. But he'll wander back down.
And actually return to the minions there to start getting relic stacks. So you're right, the damage sticking in level 6, a big power spike for Kog'Maw in the bot lane, always has been.
The artillery now executing as well. It's just real scary for Soul at this low health.
I mean, someone's getting forced out of lane in the duo lane. This is the most excitement we've had all season.
Oh my god! I was trying to tell you that bottom lane is easily the most exciting lane. This Tahm Kench is just so interactive.
Trick's here, Daisy's coming out. You know how this goes.
Yep, trying to tank up that turret. The Frog probably going to be the target. He's going to devour his AD carry, and actually They don't commit to it. The artillery is still flying through. I thought that they would have tried a little bit harder for that one, but no. Playing it real safe as BBQ.
I think holding on to the Braum ultimate till after he was spit out was necessary, but then having enough threat to actually use the Devour, that's kind of the duality he was dealing with. In the end, Ignar went in, used the ultimate early, and the Devour was enough. One ability, better than a multiple, and that is just how Tahm Kench rolls.
I was definitely being facetious, by the way, guys. Tahm Kench does not make for a very fun bottom lane to watch.
I mean, Tahm Kench is having fun.
He is having a great time. I mean, we had that discussion, didn't we? If it's busted, you best be playing it. Well, there's the Gnar back. Roach is in trouble. Nice use of the stopwatch. Should be able to get himself at least over to his turret, but he's still probably nope. Okay. Malefic Visions is going to be enough, and Tempt is able to lock down the second kill for BBQ. Feels a bit like first blood, but it's not. Good roam from the Malzahar.
Didn't even see how the ultimate was interrupted there. Was able to move out of it, but didn't matter anyway. On the side there, was killed, goes down, and they're able to push in. But because Jarvan's in the right quadrant, there won't be significant turret damage for the Gnar.
Yeah, that was really strange. I was like looking through his QSS, or I mean, you can't cleanse that, so that wasn't what it was. Very, very strange. But Roach does fall down in the end.
Not running Phase Rush, which doesn't work on hard CC anyway, so that was very bizarre.
Yeah. Probably just cancelled it himself, potentially by accident.
Death still achieved for
yeah, exactly.
the Malzahar, who counters the Rise in mid lane, in this case counter the top lane Rise, so staying against type. Ivern continues to work around bot side. If they could get an Inferno to pile on what has been a destruction of top lane, it would be a much more favorable early game for the side of BBQ.
As this game moves forward, though, Papa Smithy, do you feel like it is going to continue favoring BBQ? Can they play now the similar style to Kongdoo and slowly but surely just create this lead and continue it?
I don't know if they have the same inevitability. You feel really good about the Kog'Maw scaling from this point on, but I don't know if any of the other champions scale like significantly harder than opposition. My first instinct is no. But 1-2 item, they can really win basically every 5v5 if it's on equal footing, and it shouldn't even be equal. Right? It should be unequal because they have lane presence in most of the parts of the map. So if they can continue to play to their current playstyle, keep the speed around the same level, then I think they have a lot of options. But if you're talking about purely late game, somehow there's less than 5,000 gold lead at 40 minutes, it wouldn't be a massive favoring, but I give the slight favoring to the side of Kongdoo Monster.
Well, bottom lane once again going to do battle, targeting the Tahm Kench, which does make some sense. So he's going to get stunned up. And there's another ultimate coming down from Ignar just to try and pressure them out of lane. Secret will be able to just munch in on this grey health, though, and get himself back to relatively large amounts of health.
He's been very quick on the trigger finger with the ultimates here. I actually, while you were talking, looked over to see if he had Sorcery Tree and wondered if he had Ultimate Hat. But he does not. That's probably a backhanded compliment. Trick's in trouble.
Yep, there's an Abyssal Voyage coming down. Trick, yeah, he's most certainly dead. Rocket Jump comes in just to add insult to injury, as Edge is the one that's able to pick up that kill, but that is definitely assists aplenty there. Secret, oh, there's a couple of little honey fruits that you could have eaten there, mate, but no.
I was super confused there. Well, you know what Raze wants to do, but there is no Shockwave, and killing Temp from full health and his passive shield seems
tank
tricky.
Jarvan. That is tough.
Or he can't do the heavy lifting on that one, so I think's better of it that time, Raze. They couldn't turn that into the Inferno Drake. In fact, they can't even clear a lot of vision. Only now is Soul actually feeling confident enough to face check the brush, because he assumed that Braum wasn't in the area. It's not enough vision control for Kongdoo to take the first Inferno. That would definitely have been the cherry on top after picking up Trick.
Instead, looking for an opportunity to try and grab Tempt, which I like that as far as the mind game being played. Malzahar might have, tried to venture over, potentially investigate, but it doesn't happen. It's Trick. Want some popcorn chicken.
I was wondering about the Ivern build in 2018. The Redemption Rush is back, but not 100% clear what comes next. If it was Worlds Meta, then it would have been the Rush and the Ardent Sensor, of course, as Trick himself was building back in the Mythion Alistair Ivern game they ran in group stage, where they were on the few teams not to run a support with Ardent Sensor.
Does it feel like maybe an earlier Locket of the Iron Slar or something like that to come out?
I'm not 100% sure. I feel like you still go eventually for an Ardent Sensor, but maybe it moves to, say, a third or fourth item kind of area. So I think Locket is a very decent choice. I'm kind of learning. Like, Trick is one of the masters of Ivern. He's played it a lot, I think, to Trick. think over to Xerxes on the Unicorns of Love previously as well, so we will learn about that. But the Redemption first did feel right, just given where item power level is right now.
Yeah. That Ruby Crystal can build into basically everything. As Ignar's going to go home. Knew that he was safe, as that pink ward did spot everything out.
I remember when they made Ruby Crystal build into Giant Spell, and then it really did build into everything.
Yeah.
There's never a bad time to build a Ruby Crystal. A lot of junglers, for example, who go for Warrior Enchant into Black Cleaver, go Warrior Enchant and then buy 2 Ruby Crystals, and
yeah,
you know, they'll get their health, provides you those mixed resists. Weird to say, but you know, it works equally effectively against magic damage and physical damage, so usually is a very nice stat early for junglers especially, like Turret Dive.
Yeah. Health is the early game defensive stat, most certainly. Do need to augment it with a lot of those other things, though. Multiplicative scaling and things like that are things that you want.
You're doing that play-by-play thing where you say lots of clever words and hope that it makes you sound clever.
Well, I mean, I just can't be bothered talking about the mechanics of how stats work, to be honest. So we'll just leave it at saying a few words like multiplicative and effective and stuff
And
augment.
augment.
Augment. Buy armor and magic resist as well, guys. That's all we're saying.
Well, the Infernal he wanted earlier is being returned to now, and not really in a position to contest for it, a Kongdoo monster.
Nope. Daisy's going to beat the hell out of it. It's going to be Trick easily locking that one down, but not a lot of challenge.
Let's talk also. We spoke a bit about how the game goes on. Mid to late game, consider that when BBQ do look at Baron, Voidlings and Daisy is a lot of extra tankiness taking the Baron because your members take no damage while the Voidlings and Daisy are surprising the Baron, or at least drawing Baron aggro. So they can take kind of a no-risk Baron. They can turn off it at full health. Not many comps can do that. Reminds you of Zyra Malzahar days before. So that's going to be something to track as the game goes on. But for now, it's bot lane.
And also the shielding from Ivern as well. Certainly going to be helping out. Not able to take down this turret just yet. Even still above half health. As Race is going to make his way down. Edge was thinking about heading over. But once again, the vision is there for BBQ. Just took the dragon, of course. Do still have those wards hanging around the river.
Look at that build for Roach. Just feels bad. Everything's stacking.
Oh, no. It's like, I'll be okay.
It basically says, turret dive me, please.
Yeah, and you know what? BBQ are here. And, they're trying to do it from downtown. That's what it is. Crazy locks down the kill eventually. It looked like it was going to be easy. Almost then looked like Roach was a genius. But then the fadeaway jump shot comes out of the Gnar, and he's able to lock that one down with a big old boulder. Nicely done.
At the same time, BBQ playing the bot lane, so the roam isn't punished. No mid lane turret damage being done as Edge counter-roamed with his teleport. He also had an unsealed spellbook. And the bot side, using that Daisy, tanked up for now. Nothing's Kongdoo Monster can do, and maybe we were prematurely crowning Kongdoo Monster that 4-0 because BBQ have definitely come to play in Game 2.
Yeah, Game 2 looks like a very different beast. Might have been just working some of these kinks out as well. I mean, Ignar and Trick haven't played for, you know, a little while at least. Certainly haven't played back in Korea for a long time, so just getting used to the OGN stage once again. You know,
I mean, you can tell from Ignar in particular, right? He's trying to show something. He's trying to show a new legion of fans his skills. That's why he's being very assertive. I would say over-assertive on the use of things like the Glacial Fissure early in this game.
Yeah.
Which is understandable, as you say. First day after a long time away for these two players. We're very happy to have them back in Korea. And Kongdoo Monster, they haven't been able to have Raze dictate the game like previously. It's not that he's necessarily made mistakes, it's that, honestly, it's been more about, to me, BBQ and Ivan being very, very proactive, and the Rise, after giving up the first blood, the moment that you commit to a top lane Rise, you kind of know this is how it's going to go, and the itemization kind of necessarily went this way, but the end result is the Rise just a complete non-factor. Consider the item difference here. It's a Frozen
ridiculous.
Mallet Spirit Visit. Massive immediate stats versus I'll have some cool items in a one.
Yeah. Sol in trouble. Living Artillery does find its mark, but Ghost unable to really pressure him out of this lane as Secret does turn back up. Kongdoo Monster trying to find themselves some normalcy, get their lanes into a decent position, but Roach is still just having the worst time.
I mean, he's got a red buff now, so it is really the worst time.
And he should be able to get, you know, quite a few red buffs throughout this game as well, because Trick has been invading, stealing theirs away, and that means that there's another one for free.
Well, it was really good timing also. We see Lucians, for example, get double buffs when they had Ivern mid lane, and they counter-rotated as the red buff was there to be picked up for the Gnar, so...
Oh, and it's Athenes that comes in second for Trick. I like that. A little bit more of that healing opportunity.
Does mean Locket and Uncensor are likely to follow at some point. He doesn't have the most health, so the Locket immediately doesn't do that much. As a turnover onto the Rift. Oh, no despawning like we saw yesterday from Score, who jumped in triumphantly at 1940 and was like, wait, where's my Rift Herald?
Yeah. Shelly? It's past her bedtime, man. She has to go home. Big Baz needs to come back. Oh, BBQ should easily be able to take this one down. 19 minutes pops up. That's okay. Now, Baron a minute away. BBQ grabbing enough vision to be able to safely take the Rift Herald at 19 minutes feels really good. You want to grab a purple worm straight afterwards. Mid lane out of turret might be the next target though. They were looking for their next objective, but this does feel like an even stronger start from BBQ, especially after that first blood, of course, but 20 minutes into the game, 4,000 gold in the lead, and a composition that's more than happy to just keep playing the game, keep winning.
And we talked about the checkmark approach of Kongdoo Monster, the checklist approach of just basically taking every objective in the early game. And what hasn't been quite as impressive, it's been similar from BBQ in Game 2. So now the question is, the start has been great. The scaling's still there for Kongdoo, so now there still is an impetus for BBQ to keep up this tempo, to keep putting down the deep vision, keep threatening the Baron that they are immensely strong at taking. Literally, this is one of the best Baron teams we have ever seen when it comes to the Ivern coming in, which is not a pick in Korea. So every time there is darkness in that area, there should be panic team-wide from Kongdoo Monster.
You can see Raze, he's trying to keep an eye on absolutely everyone. There is a lot of darkness in that Baron pit. Tempt is moving his way down. He could possibly even start that, still not lose his health bar. Is Teleport going to be used by Kongdoo Monsters to try and get themselves into this mid lane, but Rift Herald is going to be thrown in. That should mean this first charge is almost enough to take it down, and it basically is. Last couple of bits of spittle from Ghost. Going to be able to lock that one down.
So the game checklist complete at 20 minutes 40 into the game. All three outer turrets are down. Move over to the Drake, second Drake of the game, just around 21 minutes. We will see multiple more spawn before the 35-minute mark, and very, very good stuff here from BBQ. We're kind of forced into the Ivern, given how many bans were leveled at Drake. It's the champion that was flashed in the first game, pick and ban, you'll remember.
Yeah.
But they've translated that force into a benefit. You know, they've used a jab at them into a real strength. So far, so good for BBQ, and Ghost is getting the items piling on as well.
And you talk about the fact that, you know, Ivan didn't see a lot of play in Korea for notable reasons that are certainly relevant, but it also means that a lot of these Korean teams haven't played against a lot of Ivan compositions.
Very low pick rate. I think internationally, but in Korea especially.
Yeah. Even internationally, though, it was a little bit confusing watching, you know, a lot of the teams play in Worlds, MSI, things like that. Sometimes still getting caught a little bit unawares.
And then people like Peanut trying to play it on the world stage and clearly not having full master of the champion.
Yeah. But now trying to garner for position around this Baron. Lots of vision circling it now for Kongdoo Monster, so they're feeling a little bit more comfortable, like you mentioned, Papa.
I think to me the big problem is the Rise. Again, they opted into this because they wanted the Orianna for initiation.
You did this to yourselves.
But the problem they have now is that Rise can't really have any lane presence against Nara because a million items behind and it's a bad matchup.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, that means that no one has to respond from BBQ to bot lane. They're just kind of, yep, you're winning, so we're fine over there. We're pushing up, getting extra vision. The rest of the four can play super aggressively around topside from BBQ and set up for the Baron that also they're in prime position to take. So the way the map is split, the 4-1, the 4 suits the side of BBQ, but so does the 1. So everything is working for them. And right now that makes it a struggle for Kongdoo Monster to even get close to clearing vision. You have to EQ in as Raze just to get to a control wall.
At least thankfully do have the combination of the Orianna and the Jarvan for ways to get around and try and start off some fights using the Abyssal Voyage, perhaps, if Secret catches someone off guard, but just trying to find these opportunities for things to happen as Raze does jump his way in. He's going to have to flash his way out, though, immediately afterwards. Edge just getting chased away by Daisy. She just seems to be enough.
Regen as well. Nara's free hitting on the bot side. Everything working for Kongdoo Monster. As close to a dictation by BBQ as we saw from Kongdoo Monster in Game 1. This is really good to see. I mean, it's super competitive. Game 3 is expected here. Is it Baron time? The answer is no, but we're getting closer and closer, Atlas.
Yeah. Power of first pick just looks to be pretty dang strong. The Kog'Maw certainly was a good opportunity, but BBQ also set themselves up to have this composition that, like you said, a lot of really clear strategic ideas as to why this comp works so well, but also has a lot of flexibility at the same time. And the fact that Trick just wasn't out-jungled even in the slightest in the early game by a Jarvan that was trying to invade, was trying to ruin his day, and just couldn't.
That may be the most control wards I've ever seen in a team's inventory. They have 12.
Wow. That's impressive.
That says we want Baron now. Which is exactly what they need to do. Any vestige of hope for Kongdoo Monster is delay, and Baron would be the end of the delay, the end of the strong wave clear on the side of Kongdoo Monster. So expect to very soon see 5 control wards. And I already see 4 in the area. 1 in the brush above Baron, 1 on Baron, 1 in the river brush towards Baron, and 1 advanced of Baron spotting out. They have complete information. They know there is no chance that Kongdoo Monster can see them stop Baron. For now, at least, they're looking for a pick. A pick would be golden.
Yeah, they are going to get the slow onto Secret, but he's able to waddle his way out after the flash. Ghost probably wanting to go back to base because he's ran out of control wards. The only member of the team to not have any, but he might take a turret first. Okay. Trick's going to land it, but not going to quite find anything else.
True hard range initiation is something they don't have. So getting that pick, apart from a flash Malzahar, which you don't want to use on for the Tahm Kench. They wanted to earlier, but Tahm Kench was walking towards the blast cone, so he would have gotten away with his life. Kind of just waiting. It feels like the flash cooldown of Tempt is kind of proportional in time to the start of the Baron.
He's now going to be looking for a Ghost. That one comes back up. Maybe that's what it's going to be. But BBQ playing very patient. Probably, I mean, they're aware of the fact that there's a control ward.
It's a bit predictable here. I think that this is the point where forcing Baron might have been the right call. Remember, they have Daisy and Voidlings. They don't take any damage from it.
Well, the fact that they do it so fast,
You got to start
look
it.
at this.
All right, they're starting it. They're in vision. They know 100% what's going to happen from Kongdoo, but let's see what happens here. Start has already begun.
Yep. Thankfully, having the Orianna Ball means that no vision denial available here from BBQ in that Baron pit, and they are, as a result, just going to back away. And Roach, look at this guy, doing work. The Rise pick, Pop Smith.
I mean, he just wasn't,
coming into his own.
Very much, he was auto-attacking the turret and then had his map on what was happening around the Baron, thinking, do I need to teleport, do I need to teleport? The call was no, and the call was correct, so they attempt the Baron. They're not wholeheartedly going to try and force it. They do not want to leave it up to a Smite War, both junglers at level 12. And the turn isn't as powerful because you kind of need Ghost Flash ult from Malzahar to turn with the team comp that they have, especially if Gnar doesn't have Mega Gnar ready to go.
Well, now it's looking like this gold lead that hasn't really changed quite some time. 6,000, something like that. Well, at least approaching. But Kongdoo are slowly but surely buying enough wards, keeping themselves in a position where they know what's going on.
And Tristana's going to go back and buy basically her second Zeal item. I think she has exactly the gold for it now.
Yeah.
And then Tristana's not outclassed and damaged. In some ways, she'll do a little bit less. She doesn't have the Hurricane, but for a single target, she's doing plenty of damage. And item parity hasn't been achieved, but it's not necessarily night and day either. And extending the game like this, if another 5 minutes is still 3-1, there still is no Baron down, there's still team fights that Kongdoo Monster will be able to come back from and win.
Yeah, and there's all those arguments as well that you can make about Infinity Edge users flat out outscaling these on-hit AD carries. Even if it is a Kog'Maw known for his incredible late-game damage, not having that crit scaling does make it a different story. We'll see whether it is going to be Ghost buying that item next. He could potentially do that and then chuck another crit item in there and still have the same opportunity. I thought that we might see a shockwave there on the Ghost.
Flashing on Edge, which seems surprising. You remember before he didn't have to flash when he was walking away after we saw a defensive flash from Raze, and now I think he's getting a bit cheeky, Atlas.
Well, Root Caller is going to land here as Daisy pays a visit, but Edge once again, still not flashing, still not. Man Protect is going to come in here as they're looking for it. Find a massive one as Secret looks for him. Oh, Trick
Could be a
takes
turn.
so much damage. Raze still alive in the backline. Secret, the only one to fall down. BBQ probably going to opt in for the Baron now. 4 versus 5, they do it so fast. Trick, stop being silly. There we go, over the edge.
Edge's going to come back. He can just swap his flash for teleport, so he'll be present there with the Unsealed Spellbook, but will it be enough? It's seeming unlikely. Raze had to back.
Yep, Ghost looking for some auto attacks under Soul here as Crazy gets
Look
the
at the
exact
Narbor.
flank that he's looking for. Yeah, really nice buster shot though, as Soul gets him the hell out of there. And Baron going to be stopped once again. BBQ, they do not have the itchiest of trigger fingers.
Remember what we talked about in Game 1, about the best teams, you know, dotting their I's, crossing their T's, but also sometimes ripping up the page and using some colored paper instead. That's not what we're seeing here. BBQ are being very safe. And if you looked at the side of Kongdoo Monster, and you could say, we also outscale if we're BBQ, then it's fine, right? Because then it's like, don't make a mistake, we'll win one way or the other. Because they don't have that extra wrinkle to it, it's a sort of game where if they lose, you can kind of look at the times when they could have been just that little bit more decisive and really know that while their control was in their own hands, they were a bit too respectful. We don't know if that's true yet. We still have BBQ running the shop, but so far they're being more passive and only a single kill, and this gold lead continuing to hover around 5,000 gold.
Yeah. They still do have Crazy. He's still going to be shoving up towards that inner turret on the bottom side of the map, so the impossible decisions that have to be made from Kongdoo Monster will certainly, you know, at least start to crop up. BBQ once again.
Even Rise has
items.
You know, he's not fully decked out, but he's doing all right. Once he gets the Archangel staff and the shield from the Seraph's Embrace, he'll be pretty ready to go.
Yeah, and that'll be a Seraph's like straight out of the gate too. That tier has been stacking for 30-odd minutes now. Rabbidan's Deathcap almost done for Edge as well. His Void Staff also done. You're exactly right. And if Soul can actually get some auto attacks, I feel like we haven't really seen him be able to for very long this game at all.
I just feel like you have Braum, Gnar, even just Braum Malzahar as a duo, and the Root Caller, which you saw at level 1 as a pick tool. How have they not either got complete vision of topside jungle or killed anyone? How have you not been able to do that with that much pick CC?
Or two-man Baron, exactly like this. Like,
they're trying it again.
Well, the ward is going to go down, and Kongdoo Monster know exactly what's going on. Raze could get in there for a potential steal. Soul is headed over
50-50?
as well. There's a teleport available here for Roach. Are they going to go for it? As BBQ setting themselves up. Temp taking a big chunk of damage. As in comes Roach, they're looking for Crazy. Can they find a Trick getting taken down very low? Daisy comes into the fight though. Immediate cancel of Secret running his way over. Nethergrass just flat out didn't do anything, but it is going to be Roach falling first off. And BBQ, whilst they took a bunch of damage, they've kept everyone alive and can now move back to the Baron if they want to. Kongdoo Monster still wanting to find any sort of fight that they can to stop this Baron from happening.
There's no pick CC for them to return, except for the Root Caller.
And Daisy just launching her way in. In goes Soul, actually wants to find Trick. That's the smite that's going to get rid of just there as Raze can flag and drag his way forward. Daisy is going to be the one to die here. Big Gnar into the wall as Soul able to get some auto attacks. They've pulled off the Baron entirely. They want Trick. Oh, he's just going to get rocketed, but he's not going to die. Secret still so tanky as this Tahm Kench. And look at this, is the juiciest shockwave available, but it's not quite there. How is Secret still alive? That was a 4v5, and Kongdoo Monster is all still there.
Soul's positioning to the side, not with his team, poking in again and again, kept raising question marks for the side of BBQ. They couldn't change aggro. They had almost DPS down. First Raze, then Roach, who was already dead, and Secret also. They were basically changing between targets, not being able to quite kill anyone, but the real threat was at full health. And while Tristana isn't ripping through people, doesn't have the last whisper yet, doesn't necessarily have the full assortment of items, they had to respect Soul, and in the end, they're no closer to Baron than they were 10 minutes ago when they started setting up for it.
And now they're probably going to start looking at Sol, but if they hadn't have got rid of Roach so early on in that fight, the health bars were at a point where just would have been ridiculous. That's a mortal reminder outright for Sol as he goes back to base as well. So you just indicated.
I don't know if this is time for the replay, OGM, but we'll trust you. We saw in the minimap, yep, Baron's going to be started again. We'll see what happened. Takes so damn long to kill. Remember, this is the second Mauser ultimate at the fight. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Cooldown reduction. It's right back up. Secret falls super, super low through multiple command protects. Another E-shield for enough health just to live. Another command protect to keep him alive. But Sol free hitting when they couldn't get him. They didn't have a ward to have vision, so they could never auto-attack Sol, let alone put a spell onto him. And if first you don't succeed, keep damn trying is the way from BBQ.
Oh, and Edge really wanted to go back. That Rabadon's death cap is burning a hole in his pocket as far as the wallet is concerned.
I think they're just going to try a 50-50. It seems like, no, they back away again. BBQ don't want to risk it.
They got the teleport out of Roach, and Root Caller very, very close from Trick, but Baron going to recharge. Health is back up again. Turret is going to fall on the bottom side, unable to be saved there by Crazy. Kongdoo Monster actually slowly starting to get some wins here on the board.
And if you're
6,000 gold is still the lead.
And if you're at home and watching, whenever we see attempted Baron Force, Daisy comes out, both teams poke around, and then Kongdoo Monster backs away, no kills happening either way. That's a win, Kongdoo Monster. That's the team from behind, getting extra gold, incidentally, and more is, well, Sol's got items now.
Yeah, he most certainly does. Abyssal Voyage is going to make his way over there as well as Crazy. Redemption ain't going to help you whatsoever. That's a flash that comes out of Sol. Aggressive play to get rid of the top laner, but that's a minute in the death chamber.
Sorry, I'm laughing because I think he got scared by the Redemption, thought it was a skill shot. He wasn't able to dodge. Backed away for a second, had to flash. So he'll feel a bit sheepish about backing away, but they get the kill.
You only really see Redemptions when Zoe's in the game these days, to be honest.
That is the feel, unfortunately, but still, they get that kill. Very long death timer. What's the next move here from Kongdoo Monster? Because for 35 minutes, they've been following BBQ's playbook.
But now they've got the 3 magical items for Edge. His Rabadon's Death Cap is completed. He's got that Void Staff as well as all of his mana problems. Starting off a fight with a single-man ultimate isn't necessarily a great move as Raze has to flash his way out. Daisy is going to get destroyed. We do at least have a regurgitation of the Jarvan, saving his life from Secret.
Well, that was bad.
Yeah,
Raze,
that was...
You've been really on point with your previous EQs and initiations, but... please no on that one.
The shockwave wasn't great either.
That's true.
That's
true. Edge and Race, if we're going to build them up, we have to break them down as well.
Yep, yeah.
And now they know it's down for, at least 30 seconds. Down for another 20 now.
Teleport is going to come in here from Crazy, so it is going to be a full-on 5v5. A lot of the buttons unavailable here from Kongdoo Monster. Raze off to the back, wanting to find this steal. Roach is going to make his way over as well, but they have peeled off the Baron. Kongdoo Monster not going to jump in there as Secret once again just tanking up all of this aggro Sol once again off to the side, but this time in a little bit more danger. BBQ trying to turn onto the Tristana where they can.
The Twitch chat meme is coming alive. Rerun or live, Atlas, I can't even tell because it's happened so many damn times. 10th attempt it feels like at the Baron. But this time Ray's back, so this might actually be the right call. Do they know he backed? That's another question.
He's got another spellbook, doesn't have a flash anymore. He's got a teleport coming in as Secret. There's a lot of shields, but is it going to be the 5-man ultimate coming out of Edge? That's the one he was looking for, but they still lose the Tahm Kench. Can they find any more? Sol, he really wants to get the resets around this fight, but he's unable to. That was ludicrous. To go from 1 onto a tank to 5-man?
Look, the average is 3, so he's doing all right, Atlas, as we're going to push through mid lane. DPSing down 5 members is actually more relevant than taking out 1 because it means that BBQ as a whole have to back away. Observer kindly showed us an insanely massive minion wave in the bot side. It's about 700 minion waves, if I'm going to count. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 700.
Oh God,
yep.
This is going to be the most satisfying.
Oh, he missed his Q. Feels bad. The next one,
really
though.
disappointing.
Yeah.
If only he was Diana.
The crescent Q there would have been
so
beautiful.
Good. It's the little things, Okay, BBQ Olivers just trying to get that vision back. They do so. A lot of wards available for Kongdoo, though, deep in the jungle. So not exactly starved for information, and have been pretty good at staying up with the movements of the BBQ Olivers team, always having a cheeky control ward where they can get it, the back of this Baron pit.
Gold lead is a larger number than before, but again, proportionally is lower than it was at earlier points of the game. Is around 7,800 gold. Doesn't really translate into much, but it's worth noting in terms of offensive power, there is 2 QSSs now on Kongdoo Monster, so it kind of adds a bit more to, or a bit less, sorry, to the damage on the side of Kongdoo Monster, and thus a bit more to the gold lead. Roach does not want to face check too much.
The value of the QSS, though, is pretty damn high given the amount of magic damage, as well as, all right, Sol, you got to be real careful, buddy. Thankfully, he does have the rocket jump, but there's no flash still, remember.
I think at this point in the game, I agree, but at some point, I think it has to be. At 50 minutes, for example, it's buy AP and just outplay them, or buy AD and just outplay them almost becomes the choice instead.
Yeah, no, I get it, I get it.
You know, the old Trundle situation where I do buy a QSS against Trundle and stuff like that. Previous metas before the change there. BBQ, they've tried the hard forcing. It hasn't worked. Now they're trying the camping, which is kind of like a lesser version of the forcing.
Yeah.
And
a less dangerous version of the forcing.
But a less effective also, but they're back to the forcing. All
right, back into the forcing.
Let's do it.
And everyone knows exactly what's going on. Kongdoo Monster right back here again. We have the pull-off. Do we have the pull-up? Not entirely sure. Don't group up for a 5-man shockwave. That's probably a good start. BBQ doing that. They're trying to get in there, but Edge, great position right now as Sol is going to launch his way forward. Secret going to devour him up, has to flash. It's only a 2-man ult this time. One of them is on the Cogmore, but it basically looked like it did nothing. Daisy still in here, trying to make this a 6v5, as decent damage does come out of Roach now. Finally, the Rise seems to have turned up, and it's again a stalemate.
Again and again, they get close to forcing out a mistake, but all BBQ are doing with these forces is looking for a mistake. This is probably the closest they got, where Sol once again tried to be in a different position than the rest of his team, but finally BBQ could get some target acquisition. He wasn't playing around vision, almost taken out, forced the flash out of Secret as well. Then it was the situation where Sol was running down the mid lane, separated, wouldn't have done any damage in the fight, and yet you look at BBQ's company like, wait, we don't have any more force. We can't take advantage of the fact that Sol, for once in this game, is not in damage range. We can't actually collapse on the other 4. And sadly, we get into this kind of reset that we've seen so many times.
Yeah. Starting to feel like the lyrics to a Rage Against the Machine song.
How does it go, Atlas?
Something about forces, Papa Smithy.
You're a real lyricist over there.
I am certainly a lyricist.
This game has followed the most predictable of cadences for the best part of 20 minutes. Force, and then have to try and turn off, but without the ability to turn with big power, and BBQ don't see any other way forward. They haven't managed their side waves. At some point, you kind of have a rush of blood to your head and just go for the 50-50, Atlas.
Well, this seems to be 50-50 time as, Sol, some free damage off to the side. That rapid fire cannon really keeping him healthy as well. Draw a bead. Now stacked almost all the way up. He's got 6 items, and the Baron once again gets peeled away from. And Kongdoo Monster really do not want to give up this game at all.
All right,
he's looking for Roach, but pretty quick to get the hell out of dodge on that one. Does mean no Zonyas. So there's the 2-man ult to come out. Ghost is going to flash forward in response, though. They want to find Edge. He's got so many shields. The exhaust comes in. Buster shot at exactly the right time. And Edge is still alive. The dissonance is there. Secret going to sacrifice himself for the good of the colony, but it could have been so much worse than that. BBQ still getting one should mean that they can lock down the Baron.
Can they actually get the vision down, have 4 members on it, and 1 person patrolling? Malzahar patrolling with the ultimate is enough to interrupt the Jarvan in his tracks. This has to be the moment.
Well, they're going to jump all the way on top of him. Nethergrass going to catch him up for enough time. And finally, BBQ are going to be able to take down this Baron. It certainly took them a long time. They did get there in the end.
An A for effort, you'd have to say, because they expended a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
I think it's A for amount of time, Papa Smithy.
That too, unfortunately, for the side of BBQ, but they get what they want. Killing Tahm Kench. We've seen 5v4 a few times around these Baron Buds, but killing Tahm Kench so important. It allowed them to actually push up vision. Great turn. Great turn onto the Jarvan as well. Gets them their Baron, and the base should be broken. In fact, it already is.
Yep, in 2 positions. Consider this inner turret. Another breaking. That top inhibitor is now exposed. Baron buff. Recall going to be utilized to get everyone back by 1 billion items in the shop, and you can see that's an Infinity Edge now done for Ghost. He's got Blade of the Ruin King. He's got basically every item he could ever want. Might sell the boots at some point. Grab himself something else with crit on it. Really make sure that the Kog'Maw scaling as much as possible, and this is the iteration of the Kog'Maw that isn't going to get outscaled by something like the Tristana, because you've got that massive range and you still have that crit available to you.
I'm just thinking about team fights when you're talking about the scaling idea. Edge we've seen hit, 3, 5-man shockwaves. There was the 1-man shockwave, but we're focusing on the full,
let's go with
glass
good
half
ones.
full of the story. Do notice that, he's pretty low AP. He does have death cap, but he's got a QSS, and his second needless large rod item hasn't been completed. Whereas the enemy has 2 redemptions and 2 lockets. Yeah. Basically, the gameplay for BBQ in these fights is get through the first QSS, leave the fight for 2.5 seconds, and then you don't have to worry about any more AoE damage. So they have so much negation that they can just kind of ignore Orianna and be fine.
Or maybe just have a trillion minions, like down here. Also with a banner of command available as well. Sol stunned up for quite some time, but it's a war of attrition. Tower's just going to fall down. Ignar making sure that was going to happen. It's in fact Trick that grabs the last hit. Is crazy. He's dealing with the last remaining inhibitor turret. Inhibitor will fall down. Top was already dealt with. Mid is going to follow immediately afterwards, and Kongdoo Monster really need to make a decision. They really need to start something up, otherwise their base is just going to die around them.
Full zoo has been unleashed. Voidling,
yeah.
Banner of Command, Daisy. Every single pet minion is out there, and Kongdoo Monster are outnumbered by just so many different things.
Yeah, it does look like Game 3 is inevitable. Hopefully we get something like a Yorick to bring the Mistress in there as well. Get all of the opportunities for non-playable characters to come out of these guys.
Where's Annie at?
Yeah.
LS approved.
Yeah, exactly. Stunning. You've been playing a bit of Annie support recently, haven't
It
you?
works out pretty well in solo queue.
Yeah. What also works out really well is BBQ crashing down on these Nexus turrets. Kongdoo Monster still not starting off any fight. Crazy takes a bit of damage, but there's another ultimate from Ignar. It's just like he's stopping everyone up. Flash forward, but Raze not going to even
Redemption
find
one.
the flag and drag. Yeah, another one comes down. Temp with the flash ult, but it is Secret that's able to... No, he's not.
Sun is dead.
Yeah, and Raze is going to fall down immediately afterwards. Make that a double kill. This could be a penta for Temp. Everyone on the fountain, still an opportunity, but no. Because that Nexus did not last very long. It's evened up, but that one took a lot longer from BBQ.
BBQ bashed their head at the wall that was Kongdoo's defense at Baron. Felt like 15 times. I lost count. That was that many times. They could never actually push their vision forward because every time it was cleared, and then there were no picks because Tahm Kench was alive. They kill Tahm Kench. They isolate the jungler who had to face check, use the Malzahar ultimate on him, kill him, take Baron, and from there it was academic. But credit to Kongdoo Monster, keeping their defensive formation for so long. But if you never really gain anything other than a bit of parity in items, you never really close the hole, that eventually there has to be a big mistake, right? And finally there was. Finally someone had to die. It wasn't the Orianna, comically. It was the Tahm Kench eventually. But that led to the cascade. It led to the game finally closing. So BBQ had the right idea. Their execution wasn't fantastic. The defense was pretty damn good. But in the end, BBQ the victors. And will it go blue side? Because we had an all blue side 6-game day yesterday. Started blue side here so far, Atlas.
Yep. Could be Kongdoo Monster now finding their way back over to Comfort and taking another victory. Or BBQ really getting themselves into the groove. Because we mentioned it earlier on that first time back here in LCK Spring 2018, wanting to make sure that they can, start off as well as they possibly can, but it is difficult to really go off with a bang game number 1. Game number 2 looked much better. Game number 3 could be even better than that. But let's go to a short break. When we get back, it will be that deciding game.